Hi guys and welcome back to the Isle. Today we're doing another skin video, so this will be my top 8 Utah skins, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so our first skin on our list is one of our boldest. This is the tiger skin. Now on the top of the Utah here, we have a mix of white and black. The white is the detailing on the Utah using the A-type pattern variant, and I really like the contrast of the white on black. It really distinguishes the details you can have on the Utah skin, going all the way from the tail to the head. It's very distinguishable and I think it looks really cool. It's quite a striking appearance all over the Utah's body. It's then followed down into this bright luminous orange, almost looks like sunset orange, which then descends down into a paler yellow. Now I really like how the orange and the yellow are quite subtle colours, you know. The subtleness between them is very mild. It's not like the contrast between the black and the white. They almost fade into each other. And I really like that. It almost gives the skin a more natural appearance, a more naturally occurring look, I feel, you know. I can see the skin actually being one a Utah would have. And then we finish off here by having the black on the underbelly. Just a bit of consistency as we've had the black on the top. I feel like those colours work really well together. Now although this skin is a very bright striking skin, I don't feel it's necessarily worthless when it comes to camouflage. Now what I mean by this is how I compared the skin to a tiger skin earlier. A tiger's camouflage is not specific to a colour scheme or trying to blend in. For example, it's not green trying to blend into trees. It's more to break up the animal. Zebras also do this. They have stripes. Most animals with stripes are just trying to break up the outline of that animal and make it less distinguishable as that specific animal. So with the Utah, if we get in a nice place here with some vegetation and crouch down and we have a bit of shadow and a bit of different lighting, some whites on the top of the vegetation here, also with some dark colours, it really helps to break up the Utah because it just becomes part of that environment, because it's hard to distinguish a Utah with all these different colours and stripes going on. Of course when you see it you're going to know it's there, but hopefully it will mean a lot of people will just run past and give you that chance to have an element of surprise with the Utah. Because as we know, the Utah, as well as being a pack animal, it's also a stealth animal. You know, with solo gameplay you're going to want a skin which you can confidently hunt with on your own and know you're not going to get spotted immediately. Okay guys, let's move on to our next skin. Okay guys, the second skin on our list is one that is tailored to the forest environment. Now you might be thinking, how is this a forest skin? There's no greens or anything like that. Well, I'm going to show you guys later, and this skin just disappears. But let's start off with the detailing on this Utah. So we have this gold pale yellow going from the tip to the head and just in front of the nasal area of the Utah. Now this is using the B-type pattern variant, which contrasts to our last skin which had almost a tiger print style to it. This detailing just stays on the spine of the Utah, staying on the top area of the back, and I feel like it's a really cool different detailing to have. It's more subtle than the last detailing, but I feel like with this colour scheme it just works really well. It's quite pronounced even though there's less detailing there. It's sitting on this black here which it contrasts nicely against, and then we go down into this really rustic looking red. This is a really nice red. I feel it's not too bright, it's quite subtle once again, but it's bright at the same time. It's such a nice colour of red, which then goes down into this grey slatey colour down here, and then black again on the underbelly. Now I was saying the skin is one that is tailored to a forest environment, and I'm going to show you guys that now. First of all, the forest floor in Evrima majority of it is covered by this leaf matter, these brown leaves, and as you guys can see, in a shadowy area it just disappears, this skin. It just is completely at one with the ground. And you might be thinking, well, we've got this, you know, it almost looks green now, this yellowy green stripe on the back, isn't that going to make us stand out? Well, when you think of gameplay of the Utah, you're going to be sprinting around a lot of the time, and this really helps you blend in with every aspect of the forest. So we've got these dark red colours to help you blend in with the floor, but then also this yellowy green which helps you blend in with the vegetation. So as you're running, you're going to be blending in not only with the floor but also the vegetation above. I feel like this skin offers a real versatility in the forest. You're going to be really hard to spot especially when you're in vegetation. You know, we blended in well there when we're running through the forest, let alone when we're crouching down. I mean, the Utah skin here just really blends in. From a bird's eye view, it just looks like part of the vegetation. Can you imagine if you were a taller dinosaur walking past this? There's no way you would know there was a Utah down there. But also, this is skin that doesn't really compromise on its visuals. Some of the time when you're having a stealth skin, you have to go for the very stereotypical colours, just having the dark greens and the dark colours. I feel like this skin offers a really unique take on your classic camouflage skins. Alright guys, let's move on to our next skin. Now, speaking of stereotypical skins, our third one is just that. I feel like you guys knew this one was coming in this list. Our third skin is the stealth skin. Now, what we've done here is we tried to make it a little bit different. Evrima has a lot of new environments which we're not familiar with if we've been playing Legacy, such as this coastal environment. And I feel like, you know, you'd think a stealth skin would not be able to be camouflage out in the open, but as you guys can see here, it works really well on this coastline. The white on the top here just really works with the sand, and then as we come down, these colours are just exactly what you see in this coastal rocks. So that's a little bit of an unintentional benefit of this skin, is that it will work well on a coastline. But as we know, the main reason for this skin is to just disappear in foliage, disappear in shadows. So let's go through this skin. So on the top, once again, we have the B-type variant with this very bold white. And you might be thinking, Tyra, why have you chosen white on a camouflage skin that's meant for stealth? Surely that's just the complete opposite colour of what you should have chosen. Well, my argument for it is that when you're in the juvenile and subadult stages, this white is not going to be here. When you're a juvie and a subadult, this skin is going to be practically invisible. You're just going to be a mix of all these darker colours you can see on the lower half of the Utah. It's only when you get to adult is when this adult detailing really starts coming through. And I feel like it just gives this skin a bit of individuality. I see so many players that just have a jet black skin, that have just gone for the darkest colours possible to try and make it stealthy. But I feel like this skin will do that just as well as having a bit of unique aspect to it with this white detailing here. So that's why I wanted to put it in. I just didn't want to have your bog standard skin. I wanted to try and make this one a little bit different, have my take on a classic. But as we go through the skin here, it is the white detailing sitting in contrast to that black, going down in here to a variety of greys. Now these greys almost look bluish, almost slaty. So that is what we're seeing on the bottom of the Utah here. I really like the mix because this is, it's almost a bright colour back here. But it doesn't look it just works so well when it's mixed up with all these other blacks and greys. I really like the mix here. Okay, now let's go into the forest area. Now, as you can see when we're jumping over these rocks, it just looks so cool in this coastal environment. That might be something you guys can try out. Even on the sand, I wasn't thinking it was going to work on the sand, but you just look like one of the rocks. If I sat down here, if you were looking from far away, at least I would. I just think you were an outcrop or a little rock poking out the sand. Now, of course, when we go into a densely populated area of vegetation, this skin is just going to disappear. All it takes is a few shadows and a few bits of vegetation, and this skin just becomes the ultimate stealth skin. So let me demonstrate that, guys, just by sitting down here. I mean, you just disappear. And the thing is with the white, is it is a bit of an eyesore on the skin in the fact that it contrasts to the rest of the black. But vegetation, when you're sitting in vegetation, it's not just black. Down there in the shadows, you have light bouncing off the top of these leaves, and that is where you're going to see it on the back of the Utah. It's almost simulating the light that bounces off the vegetation. If you're sitting down here, it is people, if they're going to see anything, they're just going to see a stripe. They're not going to see a Utah. They'll probably think, what is that, if they see it at all? And you're going to be pretty much undistinguishable when you're in this vegetation. I mean, I would definitely run straight past this if I saw it, or didn't see it. You're not going to see it. So this has been our stealth skin, guys, and let's move on to our next one. Now the fourth skin on our list is a complete contrast to our third. Our third skin was all about stealth, and this skin is all about standing out, and for that reason it's one of my favourites. Now let's break this skin down. The detailing on the top is this light grey slaty colour, which sits in contrast to this black. Now the contrast isn't too bold, I feel like it's more pronounced because of the brighter colours that are situated underneath on the Utah. This red going into this yellow, and then followed by the white on the underbelly. Now I feel like the white on the underbelly really helps highlight the neck and the underjaw area of the Utah, whereas it's sandwiched with this yellow running between. I really like how the yellow just runs like a vein between the white and the red. It's a really cool look, and especially the contrast on the arms with that red and that orange and that yellow, sorry, almost just like fire there on the hands, a fire, like a flame print. I just really like how that looks. These are colours which I usually wouldn't put together, of course, because they're not going to be a camo skin, they're not going to be very good for concealing your Utah, but I feel like once you get to adult it is going to be worth it. Now this will not be an easy skin to get to an adult for those reasons. When you're in the juvie and sub stages, this skin is going to be dominated by bright yellows and reds. So you're going to stand out quite a lot, especially with that white underbelly, but when you get to an adult, it's going to be way worth it, and you're going to have a very unique skin which very few people are going to have, and very few people are going to have ones that are similar to this. You're going to really stand out. I was running this skin a few days ago, and I was with a Utah pack, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. But I really liked that. I liked having just a very unique skin. If you're in a pack and you know you get to know the people, they're going to be able to tell which Utah you are very easily by your skin. And if you're running the same skin, it's going to make you quite recognizable. So if you're a player that likes a bold skin and wants to stand out, then this one's for you. Okay guys, let's move on to our fifth skin. Alright guys, the fifth skin in our video is one that is really trying to tailor to the behaviour of the Utah. Now what I mean by this is the behaviour, it's the environments the Utah is going to be associated with. And we all know that means sitting on rocks, running through grasslands and being hidden in vegetation. So I've really tried to incorporate a good field of colours here that are going to work well in them environments I've just named. So let's break this skin down. Once again we're using the B-type pattern variant, which is giving this line down the Utah once again, but this time we're using this almost pink mud colour, this almost salmon pink. It looks like a muddy colour but also a salmon pink contrasting on this black. I feel like black is such a good colour to use in contrast to the details, because it's a really good backdrop for that detail. It's not going to be lost anywhere. I feel like it's a shame sometimes in skins when this detail on top is just lost because it fades into another skin. I like to have a real nice contrast, so it's a bold looking skin right off the bat with that detail. But then we have this black going into this green here, a very natural assortment of colours, then fading into this mossy looking orange down here, and then once again with this pale white on the underbelly. Now these colours are very stereotypical of a camouflage skin actually. This skin's going to be very, very well suited to forest environments, but also grasslands. Like I was saying, I wanted the skin to tailor to the behaviour, the needs of a Utah player. So I'm going to demonstrate that now in the grasslands. So as you can see, the greens of course are just a really nice match to the grass. It's not just one colour of the grass in Evrima, it really varies. There's long grass, short grass, and it's not just one colour of green. I feel like the greens we've chosen though are a nice mix, a nice balance to help you blend in. Now the muddy pink colour on the top actually does have a use, rather than just being a detail, a bright detail on the back of the Utah. There are lots of patches of this mud on the grasslands. It's not just grass all over, it's not just one big field. There are areas where there's exposed earth, and I feel like this colour of mud, almost salmon pink as I was saying, really blends into this. And it just, you know, when your eye is looking across an area like this, it's going to associate these colours with that environment rather than associating them with a Utah. So I feel like it's going to really help you just blend in, become part of the environment you're in. Now, as I was saying, I want this skin to tailor to a variety of environments, ones the Utah would be most happy in. and we all know a Utah is most happy when it is sat on one of these rocks. So we're in the center of the Evrima map at the moment, and we've come to one of these rocks just to demonstrate how well this skin just blends into the rocks. So if I sit down here, the skin practically disappears. You are an extension of the rock when you're playing this skin. Now, I am exaggerating a little bit here, but this skin really does blend in. That mossy colour I was talking about before, it just really works well when you're up against the face of this rock. And the green as well, you know, the rocks, they aren't just grey or, you know, white rocks, which I feel like we got a lot of in Legacy. I remember last time I made some skins for a rocky environment, I had to make them a lot brighter, a lot whiter. But the rocks in Evrima are more realistic. They have vegetation on them, and this skin considers that with the balance of green coming up here. So I feel like we have a good balance of colours that are associated with this rock. Now, of course, as you guys can tell, this skin is going to be one that's really well suited to a shadowy, high vegetation environment as well. If we just come into the vegetation here, I mean, this skin works so well. The branches of the vegetation almost are that same colour from the grasslands of that mud, that salmon pink, and I feel like the detailing on the back here just works so well when it's against these rooty looking twigs here. I know they are twigs, but they almost look rooty, they almost look earthy, and that really works well with that earthy colour of that detail there. Now, of course, we have the darker colours here, which just really complement the shadows, and the splodgy nature of the beat pattern variant means that you don't get stripes like we had on our first skin. You get these splodges, and I feel it really works well in this leaf matter where the leaves are rounded and the shadow patches are also quite rounded, just helping you blend in and become one with that environment which you choose to be in. So not only is this skin an all-round camouflage skin, it's one that really specifically tailors to the Utah's needs. This might not be the most striking skin, it might not be our most bold skin, but this is going to be a really good skin if you are a player who's looking to really have successful hunts and make it all the way to adult with relative ease concerning skins. This skin is not going to give you away, and it's going to be one that's going to be really concealed with your hunts. Okay guys, let's move on to our next skin. Okay guys, the next skin on our list is one that tries to strike a real balance between a skin that looks bright and bold but also has camouflage capabilities. So I've chosen swamp as the environment I've tried to tailor this skin to, but before I show you it in the vegetation of swamp, I want to break this skin down. So this skin almost steps away from the morality we've had so far in the skin video with the detailing. I have normally chosen a very bright, very bold colour for the detailing because I wanted it to be the brightest part of the skin, almost to make up for the more subtle colours I've used elsewhere in the skin. However, this skin is so bright all over, I feel like I really didn't need that, and I've chosen a more red, almost reddy purple detailing here, which almost blends in to that black, which I've previously used to try and make the detailing stand out. Here it's doing the opposite. However, I still feel it's very visible. It is not one of these colours which is just lost in the skin. It is very visible and it really makes a difference to the skin. Although it's not bright, it is still there and it's still making a difference to the skin, making it look nice. Now, as we go down, we're back with this fiery orange, this fiery red, which I just love the colour of this. If I could have a Utah that was just all this colour, I would, if it would not be a walking dinner bell. As we know, you would not last long with a skin like that. However, I feel like it works very well here, just between the black and then the white underbelly we got going on here. Now we've also got a bit of brown here. Now I've chosen the brown just to try and give this a better relation to the colour scheme of swamp. Now you might be thinking, well, why have you chosen orange? But let me show you guys. The vegetation in swamp is quite bright, and this skin, like our first one, is almost trying to be that tiger print style skin. Now let me just get a bare patch of vegetation here. As you can see, the top area of the Utah, that black on red, really works well with the ground here. As I was showing you guys before with our more red skin, I said it looks earthy, trying to get with them colours Evrima has, and that's just what I've tried to do here, incorporate that aspect of that skin into this one. Now we also have the oranges here, which I feel work really well in this environment. Yes, they're bright, but everywhere in the isle has shadows, and this isn't really meant for camouflage in a typical sense. It's more to break up the Utah and make it less visible, like the tiger skin which we previously discussed. I feel like this does a really good job of breaking up the Utah and just helping it disappear into the absolute madness that is swamp. There's so much going on in swamp. It is so easy to lose something when it's caught your eye, and I feel like this skin just really helps play to that. It is going to help you disappear in a blink of an eye in thick vegetation. Now, you might not think that because this skin is very bright, but like I was saying, it's more to break up the Utah, more to make it less distinguishable. And I feel like I was saying, when this skin has a balance between looking good and having a good camouflage capability, that's what I meant. I want this skin to look really cool if you're just walking around grassland and people to go, oh, that's a really nice skin, but it was hard to, get to at it with that skin. But also it to have good versatility, good use. We all know that swamp is one of the places herbivores love to come. It's always got players, and it's a good place to position yourself. And as the Utah, you're going to be moving around a lot and have the chance to come to an environment like this quite frequently. So I feel like this skin does strike quite a nice balance between a skin that is looking good but also can help you disappear into vegetation. Okay guys, let's move on to our next skin. Okay guys, this is our second to last skin, so I just want to say, please comment below what your favourite skin so far has been. I'd love to know what you guys think so far, and if you've got any skin suggestions of your own, maybe you've got a skin you think should have been in this list, please tell me about it and I'd love to know. So our second to last skin is one that is tailored to camouflage. As you guys can tell, this green, this swampy, this vegetation looking skin is going to be tailored to those environments I've just mentioned. It works perfectly in forests like this. Now let's break this skin down. We've once again got the A-type variant pattern, which gives us this tiger stripe. Now I've chosen a very bright, almost orange, but it's not orange, it's almost like an off orange colour. Once again, I've not seen this colour used a lot with the detailing, and I think it's a shame. It's a really nice colour when given its chance to contrast against that black. Now going down into the lower regions of the skin, we see a variety of greens. Now the difference between these green colours is very subtle, but it's important to note that there is a difference here. Now this is a considerable benefit of having this skin, because when you look behind us in a forest environment, it's just not one consistent shade of green. There's lots of different colours created by shadows, by different lightings in the forest, and I feel like this skin really considers that and then brings it on itself and uses it. Now we've got bright greens, dark greens, and almost a black when it fades down here. When it's sitting with them other greens, it almost looks like a very dark green. Now the belly of the Utah here is a very pale grey, a very indistinguishable grey. You almost can't tell it's there, and I really like that because it just helps the skin disappear. So I'm going to show you guys now. As soon as we get into an area's shadow, the detailing, which was once bright in the sunlight, just blends into that earthy looking ground. Looking from a bird's eye view, this almost looks like the leaf matter, and that's what I love so much about that A pattern variant. And like I was saying about the tiger skin, it just breaks up the Utah. It doesn't make it look like a Utah anymore, it makes it look like whatever environment it's in, whatever patterns there are in the environment. But I also like how when you come into the light, this skin just really glows with that bright orange colour there. It really lights up. This is by no means a boring skin, which sometimes you know there's a mistake where if you're making a camouflage skin, you think it has to be boring, it can't have bright aspects to it. Well, this skin is just a complete skin that just contradicts that. It shows you that you can have a skin that is bright in sunlight. As soon as you come into the shadows and you need to be stealthy, the skin does what it's supposed to do. It makes you disappear. Even coming into quite shallow vegetation here, the greens work so well just to break the Utah up. Once again, referencing that A pattern variant, just helping break up the Utah. Running through a forest with this skin is going to be awesome. It's going to be so hard to spot you because all the colours you see on the forest, the greens, the browns, the almost orange here on the floor, this skin is incorporating all of those colours and just making you the perfect predator for a forest, for a vegetation rich environment. I really wanted to skin this video where it's going to look cool but also be one that's really specific to a specific environment, a specific camouflage scenario. I feel like this skin just works so well when it's trying to do that. Okay guys, let's move on to our last skin. Alright guys, this is our last skin of this video, and as it is our last skin, I really wanted to make this one unique. I wanted this to be our most unique skin and it to really stand out. So if you do run this skin, you are going to be the only person running this skin. Now what I mean by that is the colours we've used here are just in such contrast to one another. There is not one colour here which fades into another colour that sits well on another colour. However, I feel when you look at the skin from an outward perspective and you look at the whole thing, it works, even though on paper it shouldn't. So let's break the skin down. We've got a pink detailing here, which I've said this a lot this video, but I have seen nobody running the pink. But that's what I mean. This is what this skin is all about. It's using them colours which you just don't see to create something unique. We're using that bee pattern variant. Now I tried both here when I was making this skin, and I just felt that it worked better with the bee. And what I mean by that is these splodges going from down the neck and getting larger and coming into the back. I just really like how they contrast with that black. This pale yellow we've used here sits so nicely with these little splodges on that black. I really like how that looks. It's so striking, and that striking appearance, it continues from the tail all the way up the Utah up to the face. And even the pink, to be honest, on the face I feel works very well against that black. Now on the underbelly we have a quite bright purple looking colour here, which is almost like a violet. I really like that. It's just a very bold, very striking colour. And then we have quite a dark purple here. Once again, as I was saying at the start, I've chosen contrasting colours to one another. They don't fade into each other, they sit almost opposed to one another, and I just really like that with this skin. It shouldn't work, but I feel like it does. And of course this skin is not going to be the best for camo. It is one which is going to be bold, going to be quite outlandish. However, I will show you guys what this skin is like in a forest environment, just so you know, because it's important to know these things when you're picking a skin. You know, it's all good wanting one that's going to stand out and be unique, but when you're growing your dinosaur, you're going to be in situations where you need to hide. So it's important to know if the skin's going to be good in these environments, in these hunting situations. Now of course, when you're actually in vegetation, the skin, it doesn't fare too bad. You could argue that the yellows help blend into these lighter greens, but you know, I'm not going to try and paint it as something it isn't. This is not a camo skin, and it doesn't really do too well in a camo situation. But that's not the point of the skin. The point of the skin is it's going to be different. It's going to be outlandish. It's going to be a skin which is going to make your gameplay feel unique. I feel like one of the coolest things about playing the Isle with the skin customization is when you have a skin which you know is just unique, you know no one else is running. And yes, it makes the gameplay harder, it makes your run to the adult version of that dinosaur harder, but it's more rewarding. At least I think it's more rewarding when you get to adult and you have a really different skin. It just makes the game so much more interesting. You know, every time you log on and you're an adult, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I picked that skin, I'm so glad I persevered, however countless times you had to respawn. So I feel like this is one of them skins which is going to be very rewarding because it is so unique. Alright guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed my top 8 favourite Utah skins. Of course, at the end of the day, this is my top 8 favourite, and I'd love to know if you guys have any skin suggestions of your own. So feel free to put it in the comments below. And I'd also really appreciate if you guys told me what your favourite skin was from this video. I love seeing what you guys think of my skins, and you know, if you like them, if you don't, so please let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching.